Tell us again what that cutout is for.
That's a pipeline. Pipeline coming out of here to transport the gas to bigger pipelines. You go from laterals to gathering lines to transmission lines.
No drilling going on here.
No drilling here. This is compressor station.
How many compressor stations per well?
They want maybe every 2 to 4 miles a compressor station. Now I see compressor stations on the sites.
Is that
it's brand new.
Every 4 miles or so?
Or less. That's what's happening now, but they change all the time. It depends.
And how many wells are that servicing?
I don't know. How many
Basically
wells?
what it does is it boosts it through.
Yeah.
And this is a site on the left. There's a pond asking about what kind of water is that. Can't get an answer. And we can go a little bit further. Go further up, Jamal. There's going to be a little driveway on the left. We might be able to park there before they tell us to leave. So this is a gas site. There's at least, I gotta see how many wellheads. I see 2 wellheads, gas wells. And make a left here. See this little driveway here, Jamal? We might be able to go in here for a little bit until, just park in here because there's nobody around. Nobody's working today, Sunday. Make a left in here. Go. What's big?
Tell us what a wellhead is.
The wellheads are right there. See where those, right here, Jamal, just park. The concrete blocks are. That's the wellheads, 2 of them. And you have, those are tankers for water. Yeah, anybody can go out if you want. When they frack, this gets filled with tankers. Those are just a few that are left. When they frack, that gets full, maybe 100 tankers.
Just for those 2 wells?
Just for those 2 wells, there'll be at least 100. And then they have all their fracking machines in here when they're fracking.
Why would they put 2 wells so close to each other?
That's how they do it. They're all close to each other. You'll have 4 wells right next to each other. They're about 20 feet apart.
And then they snake underground?
They snake underground and they go down a few thousand feet and they go across a few thousand feet and they make sure they're in different directions. So of course.
See. So they're going in different directions.
Yes, yes. They tell us like 0.05 in the formula, but you're talking about millions of gallons of water.
What kind of chemicals?
Per frac.
Like the most commonly used chemicals?
The commonly used chemicals, I mean, that you can find that on frackfocus.org, the chemicals that they admit to. They claim they're like biocides. They claim they're like I don't even know what all of them.
Much of it is secret,
biocides,
though, is that correct?
There's some that's proprietary, that's secretive. They claim, they mention some of it.
There's 70.
Well, there are different numbers. That's right.
There's different numbers with different ones.
Site, and they have a list because we actually, when we were in Washington for our march, each of us had one of the chemicals as a. Yeah.
Is it on this level? Where
They frack right here. They have the machinery comes in, big giant fracking, right down there, in there. It's good. That whole thing gets filled with dozens of men, dozens of machines, dozens of trucks, dozens of tankers, and actually 100 of those tankers when they're fracking. They only frack once.
and for how many days?
It could be a week per well. They're fracking, but it only is done once and then they're done. That's before they put it online for production. Now, this one probably is online at this point, the way it looks.
Oh, so it's sucking gas all the time out of there now?
No, fracking is not an ongoing thing. It's done once, and then after maybe a few years, to release the gas, to make the openings under the ground so that they can go inside the fissures and open the fissures and get the gas out.
Has the water been tested?
Usually the gas company has to test before they drill. So there's a pre-drill test. Now, if they're okay, who knows? They don't speak up, they don't say anything, we have to ask them.
Does
anybody live in there now?
Does that family get paid to go out across the street, or is it just the property owner?
Well, they may get paid royalties if they're leased. And they'll get some kind of royalty, depends how many acres they have.
If the person leases land,
They get royalties.
Do they get royalties?
They usually
as
do.
local?
If they're near, like within a unit, they call a unit, 640 acres, that's a mile.
and is dangerous in and of itself. The chemicals are only adding to the toxicity of it. Plus, given the fact that the Marcellus Shale has its own radioactive signature on it that's deliberately underground, there's nothing that's right about this. You could never make it safe there. And in our case, lying beneath a substantial part of the Marcellus Shale is the Utica Shale, which for New York, one of the potential mother lodes of the Utica Shale is literally underneath our watershed. So once you open up the state to drilling, the push to get to that will be so great. You have nothing protected. And then if you have a process where, and not just this, the Corps of Engineers, the Southwest Division, is against all kinds of drilling near any sensitive constructive sites. Reservoirs, aqueducts, dams, bridges. It's too dangerous. That never gets discussed. But if you're going to have this ridiculous assumption that you could drain the planet of all its gaseous and liquid resources inside the planet's core, and then carve away any valuable materials, what is holding it up? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's the most ridiculous thing. This is what we stand on. You can't disembowel the planet without consequences.